Some more breaking news here on Philadelphia Eagles now, and we are going to get some mixed reactions to this down in the comments section. Philadelphia is bringing back cornerback Avonte Maddox on a one-year contract. I'm Chase Sr. We're going to break it all down here on the show, but first, today's Eagles Now is sponsored by 8 Sleep. If you want to improve your sleep, you can do it with 8 Sleep, and in the process, get $200 off their pod cover in addition to free shipping. Go to 8sleep.com/chatsports. We'll tell you more about them coming up here in just a few minutes. Adam Schefter breaking the news here on this Thursday morning that Howie Roseman and the Birds have reached an agreement on a one-year deal with cornerback Avonte Maddox. And Philadelphia released him at the start of March. He had a $9.5 million cap hit, and we always knew that this is a possibility that maybe he was going to come back. He did not have a lot of suitors in free agency. The New Orleans Saints did show some interest in the 2018 fourth-round pick out of Pittsburgh. Philadelphia, ideally, would have never let go of him, but after they signed him to a contract extension a few years ago, combined with the lack of availability, because over the last 3-4 years he's been injured a lot, they could not afford to bring him back on that cap number. But on this one-year deal, it is going to come at a fraction of the price of that previous number, and this fulfills a need for Philadelphia. They signed Tyler Hall in free agency a couple of weeks ago. That's a player that they look to poach off the Raiders practice squad previously. Howie Roseman had his eyes on him, and while he played last year, really for the first time in his career, for extended action, he's somewhat of an unknown commodity. Now you bring in Avonte Maddox, who's more of a known commodity. Yes, you are changing your defense with Vic Fangio, who I think is going to change this system to a traditional 3-4, where you're going to see some outside linebackers and nose tackle. Jonathan Gannon did a little bit of that. So too did Sean Desai, because he's a Vic Fangio staple. But more so, compared to those two previous defensive coordinators, the overall system is going to change. And for Maddox here, you look at his numbers from 2022, because last year he got early in the year, then came back and actually had to play safety in that playoff game against Tampa Bay. That was just part of the reason, and one of the many reasons why Philadelphia struggled in that wild card matchup, as they got dump trucked by the Buccaneers. The grades in 2022, of course, before he got injured, were pretty solid. Overall Pro Football Focus grade of 71.3, pass rush grade 77.6. What I like about Maddox, he's pretty good against the run. He's tough against the run. You can put him in the box, and he shows no fear in playing there. He actually brings you a lot of physicality, and he could play pretty good in pass coverage from the slot in some of those nickel-based defenses, a coverage grade of 70.3. That all came on 307 coverage snaps because of the injury. 1 pick, 16 stops, 1 sack, and a passer rating allowed of 92.5. Why the Eagles let him go to start March: 1, the cap hit number that I talked about. 2, the injuries that we've always talked about with Avonte Maddox. Look at the last 4 years here, and really throughout his career, 2021 is the only season where he played almost all of the games, right? 4 games played in 2023, 9 games played in 2022, 60 games played in 2021, but before that, 10 games played. And again, since being a fourth-round pick out of Pitt in the 2018 draft, he's played well when he's been on the field, but he's just missed too much action. The overall numbers over the last 4 years, he's always going to give you some good pass breakups. In 2021, a career year for him, and that's when he stayed healthy and played those 16 games. That was a relief for Philadelphia, and they thought, yeah, this guy can be our future long-term answer at that slot cornerback position, but then he reverts back to being injured after signing that contract extension. 2022, 10 games played. 2023, 4 games played. It just can't happen when you have a $9.5 million cap hit. And now you would imagine that going into the draft at the end of this month, Avonte Maddox takes over the starting slot duties once again for Tyler Hall. Mario Goodrich could be in that competition. I highly doubt that he's going to win that job. I think it's going to be a 2-man race, barring what happens in the draft with Maddox and Tyler Hall. And then right now, again, dependent on the draft, you have Darius Slay and James Bradberry manning the outside cornerback positions. I still think Philadelphia here has to address outside corner in the draft. At number 22, that's certainly a possibility. And I think addressing slot corner and just getting a younger player in there who's more durable, has more upside, higher ceiling, I think that is very important as well. And that's what we're going to talk about next here on the show, so don't you go anywhere. But first, grade the re-signing of Avonte Maddox. If you're my guy, Dennis Designs, who always watches the show, a lot of the real ones know him, he hates Avonte Maddox. He's going to grade this as an F, but what say you? For me, C+, B-. I'm not going anything higher than that. Coming up next, other slot options for the Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman in the upcoming NFL Draft. First, as I mentioned off the rip, today's Eagles Now is sponsored by 8 Sleep. And 8 Sleep, the high-tech solution to your age-old sleeping issues. 8 Sleep's Pod 3 cover slips right over your mattress, bringing heating and cooling technology that keeps you comfortable and sleeping deeper for a better and more restful night. And with 8 Sleep, the pod cover will improve your sleep by automatically adjusting your bed's temperature based on your individual needs. The cover can be added to any bed like a fitted sheet, and it allows you and your partner to cool or warm your side of the bed as low as 55 degrees and up to 110 degrees. The technology on this thing is incredible, and it will improve your sleep. There's no better way to improve your day-to-day than just getting some shut-eye, getting some rest, and the easiest way to do that, the 8 Sleep Pod 3. And how about this? The pod also tracks your sleep and health metrics on average. Pod users see their sleep quality improve by 32% after just 1 month on the pod. And I say all of that to say this is easy to use too. You put it right by your bed. You can control everything and the temperature and look at the metrics right from your phone. And you can get $200 off plus free shipping on the pod cover by 8 Sleep. Invest in the rest that you deserve with the 8 Sleep pod. Let's round out the show with this. Other slot cornerback options in the upcoming NFL Draft for Philadelphia. Player who I really, really like, and I've continued to talk about him. He's my favorite slot corner in this draft class. It is Mike Sainristil out of Michigan. Won a national championship, intercepted Michael Penix in that matchup in the Natty against Washington. Big-time player who makes big-time plays. He's a little bit small, which is why he is a slot corner, just like Avonte Maddox at 5'10", 182. But like Avonte Maddox, he's a very tough player who's good against the run, good against the pass, and the interception numbers were terrific in 2023. And a big reason for that, as you look at the coverage stats in those 15 games played for Michigan this past year en route to winning the national championship, he was a converted wide receiver. Early in his career under Harbaugh, he played wide out. And you see those wide receiver skills translate to him being a very ball-aware, ball-centric, ball-hawking slot corner because he used to play wide receiver, so he can track the ball in the air. He has really good awareness, ability to flip his hips and twist his body to come down with the football. And you look at his numbers, over the last 4 years, he played wide out for 2 of them, and then he made a seamless transition to cornerback. That is not easy to do. And in extended action for a team that made it to the college football playoff 2 years ago in 2022, 7 pass breakups, 6.5 TFLs. That's the ability to play against the run. And then this past year, the pass breakup numbers once again. And then he increased the interception numbers by 5 and had a total of 6 interceptions in 2023. This is a player who I'd really like. You can get him definitely in the second round. Might be a little bit too early. In the third round on day 3, if you have to move up to take him, because the Eagles right now do not have a third-round pick, they moved up to take Kelee Ringo. You never rule it out with Howie Roseman. Second-round pick, again, a little bit too lofty, but if that fulfills a massive need for you, and if you really like the player, and if he's one of the best players available on your board, then it's worthy of that selection. Another slot corner who can play slot right now, because you might be confident in Darius Slay, James Bradberry as your outside corners, or Kelee Ringo and Eli Ricks manning those positions, is Max Melton, who can play on the inside right now, and then in the future, you can move him to the outside. Solid size, a little bit taller than Mike Sainristil still. He's 6 foot, 190 pounds, and his development over his time with Rutgers was really, really impressive. And I need and want corners who have ball skills, who have the ability to track the football, address the football. I get so frustrated by these cornerbacks who don't turn around to address the football, high point it, or even look at it, and they run into wide receivers, and you draw that spot foul for the PI because you never turn around and you run right into that wide receiver. Max Melton, Sainristil still, they haven't done that a lot, and I really, really like that. Max Melton is physical. He can also play against the run. He's a player who, again, gives you positional versatility, slot, outside, 6 pass breakups, 3 picks, a quarterback rating given up of 65.7. He ran very, very well at the NFL Combine. So he has that track down speed that you need at that cornerback position. And the consistency really in the last 2 years I thought was very impressive. You had the 10 pass breakups in 2022, the 6 pass breakups in 2023. So again, outside corner, slot corner, 2 positions here that even though you're bringing back Avonte Maddox, I still think you need to address those positions in the NFL draft. So pick a slot, Avonte Maddox, Tyler Hall, or draft a rookie. And which rookie do you like? Malik Mustafa out of Wake Forest, another player who I'm also a big fan of, who is a safety but can play out of the slot. And keep in mind, C.J. Gardner-Johnson can do a little bit of that as well. Make sure you give me a follow on X, give me a follow on Instagram. A lot of short-form content, takes, thoughts on there, in addition to the long-form content here on the show.